Mm.
Hello, Dave. I am Yao. I'm an undergraduate from Penn State. Welcome to the Evolving Entrepreneur interview. Today, we basically gonna discuss about entrepreneur leadership, and I'm gonna ask you some questions about your business, your personal life, and stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
So, first question is, what do you think about entrepreneur leadership? The entrepreneur leadership topic, in your opinion, what it takes to be an entrepreneur?
So first and foremost, my name is David Chow. I'm a Philadelphia-based photographer and videographer, kind of specialized in a bunch of different fields, but more specifically, in recent months, I've narrowed down my business model to a lot of sports and weddings, as well as some commercial work. But in my personal opinion, um, when I think about the entrepreneur leadership topic, is I feel like it's a wonderful thing, especially being the fact that we live in a country where it's so easy and it's often encouraged to be your own entrepreneur. You know, growing up, we're always told this one given path to just work 9 to 5, and there aren't many resources or any type of ways to become your own entrepreneur. But with recent times, is we've seen a big boom in entrepreneurship, especially with social media, and the internet as a whole. But in terms of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, to me, it requires a lot of risk. Um, Oftentimes, any type of business endeavor you take on as an entrepreneur, though, it's 100% liable on you. Therefore, you need to come in knowing what you want and how to get it. And for at any moment where you slack off, that could really make or break your business. Additionally, and then going further to knowing what you want in entrepreneurship, I know with me in the beginning is I was kind of like all over the place with my photography and videography. I was shooting I was shooting everything that came my way, and while that was good in the beginning, as it helped me find clients and build rapport with a bunch of different people who then could suggest me to their friends and families and people within their inner circle.
Okay.
uh, that kind of branched me off into a bunch of a lot more industries with a lot more clients. Eventually got to a point where some of the gigs I was doing, I just didn't enjoy. So I really had to sit down and have a conversation with myself and really figure out what I wanted to do, because me shooting everything that came my way wasn't sustainable. So that's why I made the executive decision to narrow down um, the type of um, the type of gigs I shoot, so, and to which I narrowed it down to fitness, commercial stuff, and weddings.
Okay. But how you know this is something that like you really is something that you really want to do? Like how.
Um, just by the sheer excitement I get out of it. That's um, for every gig, I enjoy it. Just for the simple fact I enjoy what I'm doing, and I often, it's what I wanted. It's just what I want to do.
Okay. For your business, do you have like any like purpose or like what's the goal like of your business like that you're reaching for?
The goal is to scale my business to a level to which I could live off of it full time. I could do it full time, and I could even set off new business ventures with it. I know one of my idols. His name's Jacob Owens. He owns a media company called the Buff Nerds, and he started off kind of in a similar position I am right now. College graduate, went to film
Mhm.
school, um,
Mhm.
and then just he's been in the industry for like 10 years, and now he's a full time director living in LA as well as Bali, and he had,
Mm-hmm.
and from just being having his own film company, he's able to get into a bunch of other business ventures as well. So I know him. He owns a couple properties where he allows people to film at. He also is
Mm-hmm.
invested in real estate, and he also sells a bunch of products relating to film and photography. And that's kind of how I want to set myself up.
Okay, I see. So as of now, how like how are you making out with your business, with your photography business?
Um, well, right now things have been drastically slow due to the current pandemic,
Yeah.
but during this downtime, I have dedicated myself to just learning new skills within photography and videography. That way, once this pandemic is over and then flattens
Mm-hmm.
out, I could come back to the game a lot stronger.
Yes, yes. That's one thing that I really want to talk about as well. Like, so what kind of suggestions you have for people right now during this pandemic? Like, do you think like as you that that you're preparing for after this pandemic? You prepare after the pandemic and stuff like that. So, what any suggestion you have for other people
Yes.
or yeah.
So my first suggestion is don't let fear take over you. Don't get eaten up by the fear. Yes, everyone's in kind of a downfall right now, but just you can't let that negative energy just stop you um, from remaining calm and kind of like thinking it through because we're all in
Mm-hmm.
this together. So I say that to say just kind of like let that go and then just focus on okay, what just kind of use this downtime as an opportunity to reflect on your current business operation and see where the fallacies, where things are going wrong, and then just take use this downtime to kind of improve. That way, when everything does pass over, you can come back to the game a lot stronger within your specific business. So just my main tip is do not let fear overcome you, and just use this downtime to improve and learn a lot of new things because it's only at a time like this where you have so much free time. Once this thing flattens out and the economy goes back to normal, you're not going to have this free time that you wish you had.
Yes, I'm definitely agreeing with you. Like, you people shouldn't just sit around in the house like doing
Yeah.
nothing just because you're off from your job or whatever. You should prepare. You utilize this time, this opportunity at home to prepare for the future, like for prepare when things get back to normal.
Yep.
Shouldn't just sit home. Yeah. So okay. So one of my questions is what is what is one of the best piece of advice you have ever gotten?
One of the best pieces of advice.
Yeah.
Um, I would say one of the best pieces of advice I ever received was that it's okay to fail. Yeah, you don't ever really truly fail when because every time you do fail, there's always something you can learn from it. And I feel like anything that you can learn from is an opportunity to get better. So
Hmm.
that's why I don't always see failure as like as an end all be all. I just look at my failures in business as an opportunity to kind of learn from it and move on. Like I was saying earlier, how I was I was shooting and filming so many different things. It was putting a lot of stress on me, and
Hmm.
someone could see it as a failure. They could see it as oh he's not focused, blah blah blah. But I seen it as, okay, there is something wrong with my current business model, and now I have to restructure and refocus. So
Yeah,
that's
that's.
why
Hmm.
that's why I'm stressed about failures.
That you can always learn from it and grow from it. So don't let a downfall, put you down. You can always learn from it and just grow.
Yeah.
You will never be successful unless you fail and learn from it and and improve and be better. Okay.
Yeah.
So, talking about that, like, since you have spent a lot of time on just like recording and shooting a lot of, like random stuff, just to I'm pretty sure you're just going over. There's a period of time where you feel like you would feel like you would like debate about whether if it's the right thing to do. Like, what made you what made you like to be, um how I say it, to be like, yeah, this is the thing that I would want to do. You know what I'm
Uh,
trying to say?
oh yeah. So what really solidified my decision was when I was when I found myself making a good amount of income from it, and that's when it gave me faith that I was like,
Okay.
okay, maybe this is sustainable, because I always wanted to do this. I always aligned myself to be in this position. Even starting from high school, I went to high school with the intentions of pursuing, videography and photography.
Digital media.
Yeah, digital media. But it's just what really solidified it was just the how I was seeing the income come in. I was like, okay, I could, you know, I'm able to buy the things I want. I'm able to pay the bills I need to pay, and I have money in my pockets now. So
Hmm.
that's kind of what solidified it for me.
Money is the motivation then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what are the traits or qualities that you think makes a successful people or entrepreneur?
Oh, you get there's several things. First and foremost is being um a risk taker. That's one of the biggest things. Because, like I said before, anytime you decide to become an entrepreneur, you have to also be comfortable with the fact that this is a personal liability. This is something you are responsible for. Your business is kind of like your own child. You have to nurture it. You have to take care of it. You have to set it up for success. And if you don't, it's just going to come back and hurt you in the long run. Another thing is you have to be motivated. That's one of the biggest driving forces behind it. If you don't wake up with the ambition of doing anything, then how do you expect yourself to drive your business forward? Um, Another thing is you have to be you have to be a hard worker. This entrepreneurship isn't just like a something where you just do a few things and you instantly take off. You constantly have to keep at it. Otherwise, the second you slow down, somebody you might be competing with is going to take that downtime you're currently in, and then use the opportunity to get ahead of you. And that only makes it harder for you to grow as a business now. So,
Yes.
and you also have to be a little creative too, because oftentimes as an entrepreneur, you're just creating solutions to
Hmm.
problems, and sometimes that requires a little creative thinking. So, like, what can you provide to a certain industry that will kind of help people out? What how can you monetize a solution? How can you do something differently? You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel.
Hmm.
You just have to push the wheel in a different way. And I feel like those those four like some of the biggest traits that you need as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I totally agree because you want to be something, want to create something that's different. Like you don't want to be like just typical because there's too much competition out here. You want to be
Yeah.
something that's, yeah. I see. One second. So, what kind of advice do you have for the upcoming entrepreneurs? I feel like, yeah.
Some advice I have for an upcoming entrepreneur is yeah, I would well, I have two pieces of advice. Is one, I would give him the same advice that was given to me is don't let every every failure is a learning experience. You truly don't ever fail when you fail. When you encounter a failure, there's always it's a failure is a growing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And my second one is to kind of know what you want. Like when you enter any type of entrepreneur endeavor, kind of know what you want and know the goals you want to achieve. That way you have some type of plan or a line of focus in place, and from there you can kind of set things up that will direct you to that goal. And and then I guess one third. I mean another piece of advice is having goals, but at the same time is don't set your goals way too high, because if you do set unrealistic goals, then you're just gonna always be stressed. So it's like for example, like, oh, you wanna be a baker, and by the end of the year you want to make like $10 million. That's not realistic in the slightest bit.
Yeah. You
Maybe
should always.
maybe that'll be a
You, so you're saying like you should always work on your what's in front of you, like what you can do right now to prepare
yeah,
for the bigger goal. It'll eventually lead to to bigger things. You should work
yeah,
on a lot of short terms before you get to the long terms.
yeah.
That's what you
Have short-term goals.
okay.
It's okay to be ambitious and be a dreamer, but you also have to
Mm-hmm.
be realistic. You have to
Yeah,
be
I
realistic
definitely
with
agree. I definitely agree.
yeah. Those are three pieces of advice I would give anyone that want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, so what are the take? So the takeaways basically, like you should always when you fail, don't take it as it's something that's don't take it as uh to be like to feel like a failure and anything. Just learn from it. You'll always be
Yeah,
better. You always can learn from it, be better. You
yeah.
know.
Let your failures be growing experiences. There's always something to learn from a failure. Therefore, it's never a true failure. Uh, to me, a failure is okay. I do something and I just have to go up. I have to bankrupt, and to me, that's a failure. But until then, if something isn't going to bankrupt me, then I can always learn from it and progress.
Hmm. Even bankrupt, you should still learn how to get up from it and just learn from it. But but I hear this topic kind of a lot. Like you should always learn from your failure. Don't ever be depressed and things like that. But
Yeah.
I personally think that if you can learn a mistake through someone else, you should always learn it through someone else.
Oh,
Instead, yeah, instead of knowing that you already, instead of you going through it yourself. If you can learn it from somebody else, learn it from somebody else. But
yeah,
if you fail, that's okay too, because like you like we mentioned, like you can always
yeah.
learn from it and be better.
There's a full circle to failure. You
Yes,
can learn from your own failures, or you can learn from somebody else's failures. So,
I totally agree.
yeah. And then one more thing to add is is
Mm-hmm.
to kind of is like it's kind of like if everyone fails but learns from each other, that eventually narrows down the amount of ways you can fail, and that could kind of come up. That could kind of lead to one concrete solution or method of doing something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second takeaway is, so basically is, don't, just work what's in front of you. No,
Yeah.
don't be realistic about it. Don't, work your way to your bigger goals. Eventually times will come, and it will serve you well. So
Yeah.
thank you. But anything you want to add, Dave?
Oh yeah, just elaborate on the short-term goals. I know one of the things with me is I know myself, I wanted to jump straight into it. I wanted to just buy like the best camera, the best
Mm-hmm.
drone, best everything, X, Y, and Z, but I knew I didn't have the capital up front. And
Okay.
and doing so would just been too much of a financial investment. But at the same time, I know that I still have to enter the market with some type of decent quality equipment. So instead of making the full jump into something really high end, I kind of made the financial risk to just get something that was kind of in the middle, and that kind of led me to the position I am now, where I do have a lot higher end equipment. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was baby steps.
Okay. So are you like looking into like to be in like movie directing or anything like that? Like,
Uh, that I'm unclear about. Probably not. That's just while I like watching movies, I just know that really isn't for me. Ideally, where I would want to be is I would kind of want to be like um be more so continue to be a freelancer, but kind of more so just being a freelancer for a lot bigger clients. Ideally, in the next 2 3 years, I want to do strictly all commercials for like businesses like
okay.
like Nike, Mercedes Benz, BMW, kind of like just working with big brands.
Okay. Okay. It's my honor to interview you. We're having you as a guest.
No,
And yep, thank you.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right.